Yeah, so yesterday we looked at functions and loops, and one of the examples, or maybe one of the things that we talked about, is the fact that you've been engaging so much with the functions, and we named just a few of them. For example, we talked about maybe functions like, yeah, we talked about functions like, even head is a function. Head head is a function. So used to return for you the first six what? The first six rows of a data frame. Another thing also that we checked on was even like, for example, things like mean. We said mean, those are functions. A mean function, we can even talk about a function like square root, right? Square root is also a function, right? Square root of a given number. We mentioned even things like what? Correlation. Correlation is also a function. Yeah. So you want to do a correlation test between two variables. Either you have maybe two variables, or maybe two what? Groups of numbers. Yeah. You may want to do that correlation. You can do maybe an analysis of variance, that is ANOVA, and things like that. So we have different kinds of functions that you have met again, even in your workings with R. And another one also that we talked about is something like, yeah, there are quite a number. Yeah, and even tail. Tail is a function. I mean, there are quite numerous functions here that you met, and even things like supply that we were talking about last time. That is a function. And we mentioned again that these ones are called built-in functions. The same way you have built-in data frames, for example, MPG, MTCAS, air quality, passenger, president, iris. That is the iris that also you met them a couple of times. Diamond, air passengers. You have even Palma penguins. Um, those are built-in data sets. And also there are data frames that you can declare by yourself. So this also is applied to even functions. We have built-in functions, and we also have user-defined functions. User-defined functions. And also mention just the fact that the skeleton of a function looks like, of course, you have to give your function a name. But if you just type function, right? This is like you have to declare, you have to use that, and let me add something here. Sorry. Yeah. So this is more of like a function. So what are you passing here? Maybe I want a function that calculates, for example, this one that we calculated yesterday, right? We want a function that calculates the volume of a certain class, and this class is cuboid, right? So what are the parameters that we are going to be using? We are going to be using something like length, or let us then write a function that does what? Think about any example, or even a function that calculates the volume of what? The volume of the volume of the volume of even a cone, right? The volume of a cone, I believe, or something like that. You can try to even like write that function. The volume of a cone, or even the volume of a cylinder. Yeah, a cylinder. What is the volume of a cylinder? Like, how does it look like? How do you calculate the volume of a cylinder? For those who know how to calculate volumes, we're just using some simple functions here. Pi r square times h. So how do you write that function in now in R? You can write that function so that every now and then you are going to be using you are going to be using the function, because one of the reasons we are saying functions are important is where you have to, so that you don't have to be writing maybe that line of code every time you want to do the same action. For example, you are doing a project that involves maybe volume calculations, like maybe you have even 10 problems, then involve maybe calculation of volumes, maybe of cylinder and things like that. And so you don't have to be writing a function for every question, but you can declare it mara moja, and then now the second, third, and fourth, and even 10th time, you just call that function into action, right? Yeah. Are we together? Yes? Okay. Seems like some people doesn't want to want to speak. But what do you think are some of the parameters that we can pass here? I think maybe our focus can be radius, or you can even call it R, but let's just call it radius. And another thing that we want is height, right? These are the two key things that we need, all right? So let's try and write it out. Um, Pi. Pi is let me say R knows what pi is, so we may not really need to write it here. Yeah, but let me first try writing it without the pi, and then do it again with the pi, so that we compare. So here we have to define maybe what the volume is. Maybe we have that the volume is equaling to um, pi times is it times radius. It is half. What is the volume of a cylinder? Half. Is it half or pi r squared h? Sorry. So pi r squared h. So that is pi times radius needs to be raised to power 2. So this one needs to be raised to power 2, and then you multiply it by the height. By the height, yeah. So and then what you do is now tell it to return. What are we supposed to be returning here? Joseph, what do I need to include kuandika hapo ndani? Return? Yes? Joseph? Oh, you're off. Oh, so but we did this yesterday. So what am I supposed to input hapa ndani? Let me ask somebody. Pashamai, result. I write here result. Uh, it seems like we are going to do functions today. Victor, what are we supposed to write hapa ndani ya return? Yeah, so hapa ndani we are supposed to be writing it should be returning for us the volume, right? So let's try running it and see. Yeah, it is running. And then Pashamai, yes, return all this thing. To return this one. but we have already declared that tushaita hii kitu the whole of this thing we are calling it volume, which we can even call maybe we can even say Jeff, of course. I mean it's just a name, but now for us to know what you're working with, yeah, volume, volume. Let's we've already run it, and now let's call. Also, we did not give our function a name, so let's call this one is seal vol. So this one is called cylinder volume, right? So our function name is called seal vol, right? So that if I run it again, then now let me call seal vol. You can see it here. It's a function, right? And maybe write it as now we are supposed to be passing in two things. Number one is we are supposed to pass in radius, and also we have to pass in height. Now suppose we have a cylinder whose radius is 21 centimeter and the height is 44 centimeter, right? So if you run it, it's telling you that the volume is 60,959.46 centimeter cube, right? So if we have other values, now tuseme this one was problem number one. Problem number two, high volume ni not really volume, but radius ni 0.105 meters and the height is 2.1 meters, right? If you run this, now, you get that the volume is 0.0727 right? Is anybody having a question? So let's try what I don't know you, but you are asking that. Let's copy this. And you are saying, how about if you tell it to return? Or there's something that you have not copied and you have not added. That one. Yeah. So you are saying that how about if we say return? Let me remove this one volume. Copy. Then inside here we are supposed to return this. And then you just run now. Or for us to have a different name, vol1, so that you see that it is different. If you check here, you can see it's still vol1. It is here. You can see functions. Under things that you are writing functions, there's a function we wrote as bar, class, silvol, and things like that. Power, we wrote even square, right? Those are functions. So you can actually come here and write silvol1, and it is running. So the only problem that happens with that, I believe it's you, but you asked the question. If you want to return this, then don't give it a name. Don't give it a name as maybe volume. All right. Let's try running this one and you see. We see if it's making sense. Then now silvol1, sorry, we say return this one and then run it. Return, let me see. Yeah, okay, so it's still working. So no problem. So if you return this one, you can even write return return whatever we have here, which is basically equivalent to volume. But for me, I would prefer you write return volume, like the name of the how you've saved all this operation that we have here. You can just write it like return volume. This one makes it more readable and yeah. Suppose maybe now that you have a very long something up to maybe Kitukama hapa. It's ending up to this point in Uniko, where the cursor is. And so you want to write that return all that thing. It can sometimes blow your mind. Um, Another thing, yeah. Is there anybody having a question about whatever we've written here, this function here? Yeah. Any other function that you may want us to try out? Yes? Evita. Evita, are you okay with functions? Or even before Evita? Joseph, you said you are a little bit off. Are you now back on track? Yeah. So yesterday we even wrote a function that calculates the volume. This one I think we've written length, width, height, and then you tell it what it is supposed to return. Even maybe we could edit it this way and say um, you know there's this sometimes you calculate the area of the cross section and then you multiply by the height, right? So you can say maybe cross section area cross section area no, cross section maybe cross section. So the area of the cross section is mostly given by length times times length times width. So if you want to calculate the volume of a prism, right? Triangular prism and things like that. It's more of like cross section area times the length or maybe the height. I don't remember those basic things, but yeah. So you can say maybe cross section area, and then now here is where you declare something like volume. So volume is going to be equal to cross section times times height, right? And then now, mm, so here is where now you write maybe return the volume. What do we need to be returned? We only need the volume to be returned. If you write here return cross section, it will be a different thing. Let's see if it is working. And then now class 23 is for the length, 45. Let's now maybe say the cross section area is 45 and see if it is working. Argument height is missing. Okay. Yeah. So here we have to go back and declare everything that we had here, and we declared three things, so we have to add them in. So here we had 23, 45 and 878. You can just rerun them again and it prints for you whatever you had there. So return for us the volume that is returned. So it knows that the volume is as a result of cross section times height. Cross section is as a result of length times width. So you have to input length, width, height. So it doesn't really have to be just like function blah blah then return, right? You can first do some declaration here. Venye umeona hapo, we've done two declarations before we get to the return, right? You can even have some other things here like umeandika ndo finally unasema return, right? Yeah, we also wrote something like a function that returns a square of a number. So you said square function, maybe we have a number represented by a variable x, or even represented by a variable, right? And then what are we supposed to return? So you're supposed to return variable raised to power 2. That is how you get a square. How about if you want to get maybe cube root? Cube, I mean. So cube um, variable, then we'll raise it to power 3, right? So function blah blah. Then what are we returning? And then if you say here cube, what is a cube? Why is it not returning anything? So cube variable. So what is the variable? Variable, maybe what is the cube of 3? And run it, you see that it's 27. 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. Are we together? You can do a thumbs up if you're together. Uh-huh. How about the others? Victor, Said, Suma. Evita, thumbs down or thumbs up? Evita seems to be not around or something. Yeah, those are some of the functions that we checked, right? And I hope maybe the review that we've done, because I understand sometimes functions and the loops, it can really confuse a little bit, just a little bit, not so much, uh, not something to confuse you forever. We also looked at loops, right? We looked at for loops and while loops. So for maybe this is the basic skeleton of a for loop. For maybe variable in, so something in a certain vector, then inside here now we'll be declaring what is supposed to be happening, right? For example, now we have this simple one. This is just a review of what you did yesterday. For I in 10 to 20, or I can even say C 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So this is 12, 13, 13, 14, sorry, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah. So for I in, so we talked about a vector. Of course, you concatenate. Yeah. So for I in all that, print, yeah, number and then the I, the variable that we have. So if that variable is found in this vector, it is going to be printed, right? So let's run it. You can see that it has printed number 10, number 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, up to number 20. So this is also another way, right? Initially, we called it maybe 10 up to 20, and I think you remember that this is a sequence, right? And it's something that we have talked about. So if you want to declare all of them, you have to use the concat, but just ensure that you have all the brackets. So hii bracket ya kwanza ya mwisho should be matching hii ya mwisho. Hii ya katikati should be matching this one, right? Hadi hapo tu, nani ako na swali? Yes? So we must include paste for it to write all the numbers down. Paste, we talked about paste inatumika to do concatenation, right? I'll take you back to where we did it, day number 1. We talked about it somewhere here. Here. We talked about paste, where we wanted to join all these statements. Number 1, and then out of, for, children in, then X is a variable that contains Europe suffer from obesity, right? So using a paste function, right, you can concatenate all these statements into one thing. Let's try to run all of them and you see. Unaona what has happened here? 1 out of 4 children in Europe suffer from obesity. Have you seen that, Hubert? Hubert? Okay. Yeah. So that one we did yesterday. Print and then paste. Suppose you don't have that paste. Let's see what is happening. Let's see what is happening. You see what it is printing? It is just printing what? Number, right? So 1, 2, 3, of course 9 and 11. So this one it is just printing number peke yake. But paste now, it is not concatenating it with the variable I. Are you seeing why paste is important? Yeah, so you can use paste or you can use paste 0. Let's try and use paste 0. You see what paste 0 does. You can see what paste 0 does, right? And kwanza, it does not mix, it does not leave for a space between number and the variable that we had 20, right? So that is function your paste 0, the paste 0 function. If you have a different one, paste, it does something that is different, right? First, let me do something here. You can see paste what paste has done. There is no spacing between number and variable. So that is for paste 0. Okay. Then, so for loop, we also looked at while, right? While loop, so there's for loop, there's while loop, and also there's repeat loop, right? And one of the things that we looked at is even the skeleton. Similar to maybe for, you can see for variable in vector, and then while, then there's a condition that we have to declare here, right? So we looked at example 1 where we were looking at a certain variable called j. So we declare j is equaling to 1. So while the condition here being as long as j is less than 5, less than or equaling to 5, right? Print iteration j. So j is a variable that is starting from 1, right? But you can do an increment for that j, so that as we start from 1, we can do j plus 1, we get it to 2. 2 becomes our new j, right? So it iterates until a point where j is no longer going to be less than or equaling to 5. For example, from this instance, when it goes past 6, then j is not less than or equaling to 5, right? So let me remove these comments so that you see it in action. Yeah, you can even have it just this way. This is the function. Yeah, this is the function that you have. So what are we saying? So while what is the condition? J is less than or equaling to 5. You are supposed to print iteration maybe 1, iteration 2, iteration 3, 4, until it reaches a point where this condition is not met. We are not able to meet these conditions as this one inside this bracket. So you can run it and see that we are starting from iteration 1, iteration 2, 3, 4, 5. We cannot print 6, 7, 8 and the likes because this condition is not met past number 5. Are we together? Yes. Thumbs up if you are together. Or thumbs down if you are not together. Eric is okay. The others? Uh-huh. Yeah. So that is while loop. We can look at even a repeat loop. There's a repeat loop from line number 970. You can also talk about a repeat loop. Can you see what we have there for the repeat loop? Right. So inside here, you can see maybe we have just similar to what we are doing with the while loop. So counter, we are calling a function called counter, or maybe a function, or we have a variable called counter. Then we want to use a repeat loop. A repeat loop is having this skeleton. You just write repeat and then tab, and similar to how this is just how it looks like, right? Repeat, you start it by repeat. You start writing the function by repeat. That is the repeat loop. You start by writing repeat. So first we have a variable here that you want to use for practicing that repeat. And maybe let's call it counter. You can even call it y, right? Or even q. I mean, this is a variable. A variable can have any name, right? So counter. Then now we have now repeat. So what is the code to be executed inside the loop? We want to print the paste iteration counter, right? So counter is of course going to be increasing. It's similar to what we had there. We're just using the same code but different. Ile J. So we had J here. Let me use J's because maybe that one unaweza elewa very quick. There is something that you've removed here. Object counter not found. Where is counter? Oh, sorry. What could be number of repetitions not found? Use repeat code to be executed. So print paste iteration that, and then increment the counter. So we have J is of course J plus one, and then check if the condition to exit the loop is met. So if maybe J is greater than number of repetitions, there's something that he wrote here and did not take care of it. So code to be executed. So print iteration J, increment the counter. Then number. I've not run it. So you can see here, like we are supposed to declare how many repetitions do we want to see, right? So you first have to declare like what is the number of repetitions maybe that you want to see. I want to see it repeated maybe even 10 times, right? So let me run it up to here. Yeah, somebody can now try to look at it. But of course, this is just simple, not complex. Let's even add it to 10 and see. You can see iteration 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what a repeat loop function does, it's just similar to the while that you are using, right? While this condition is met, yeah, it's only that it has a different outlook of how you can write the condition. For while you saw that you are writing while, and then there's a condition that we write here, right? There's a condition that we write. So in this case now we are transferring this thing to inside the bracket. That condition is supposed to be now inside the bracket, and here we change it from while to repeat. And so first, of course, you declare maybe this is a number of repetitions, or maybe you can even call it M, and then call it M, right? So you can see the explanation. So code to be executed, this is what you want to execute, right? How are we going to do the increment of our J? How are we increasing our J? It is going to be J is equal to J plus 1. Then there's a condition that we have to look at, right? Every time it goes through the code and finds that this condition is met successfully, right? It continues. It goes back and iterates one more times and checks if this condition has been met, right? Goes again inside the function and checks if it has been met, right? Continues until a point where this condition is not met. When J becomes greater than M, we stop. So for example, when J becomes 11, when J is 11, 11 is greater than 10. So when J becomes 11, we stop executing this condition, right? We stop execution. So if J is greater than M in bracket, break the operation. So, or it tells you that exit the loop when the condition is met. So when the condition is met, we exit and go back and do another iteration. We go back and do another iteration. But when the condition is when the condition is not met, actually, you go back and do another iteration. But when we meet this condition that we have here, j being greater than m, then you exit the loop and stop looping. So that is what maybe a repeat loop. That is what a repeat loop does, right? It goes inside the function, checks if the condition has been met, or maybe it has not been met, depending on how you declare it. Checks if the condition you are asking for has not been met. It goes back and again iterates. It has not been met, goes back again until now the condition has been met, and then it stops and breaks. So that is where break comes. Are we together? Somebody who is together to say to react. Somebody who is together to react. Victor, Peshamai. Uh-huh. Koitoi, together, Nathan. Is Evita in the class really? There's no reaction coming from Evita. There's no reaction, no thumbs up, no thumbs down. Okay. There might be an issue. Said, are we together? Okay. Who else has not notified us? I believe we are together. Yeah. Any question? Yes. Okay. Um, let's look at R Markdown. And if you don't have R Markdown, just write install Markdown. Can you check if you have Markdown? So you can even go to packages here and look for Markdown, right? So R Markdown here, right? If you don't have it installed, you can install it, right? Or you can just click it and sorry, I'm right clicking. You can click it and install, or maybe just go here to packages and look for install, and then say R Markdown, and you can see it here, and then write install. Of course, I have it installed, so I may just maybe even do it again. So go there and install your R Markdown. That is if you haven't installed. Are we okay? Pashamai, are you okay? You have the markdown. Okay. Yeah, I believe you're okay. Anybody who has not done the installation? Eric, uko sawa? Eric, you're not okay. What is the issue? You can unmute. Victor, are you okay? Huh. I'll call Evita again. Hubert, Hubert, are you okay? Yes. Said. Okay. Yeah, we can continue. Let me just remove some things here. This one. Okay. So R Markdown is of course, it's a tool that allows you to blend code and text and even output into a single document. For example, all these things that we have inside here, we have like even 1019 lines of code, and even including comments and things like that. All these things we can blend them into an R Markdown and write all these things as if it is a Word document, as if it is a PDF document, right? As if it is a even HTML document. Yeah, there are those who are sending in even assignments using HTML format. Yeah, and so that is something that you can we can do. So it is useful for reproducible research and even data analysis and report generation. So if you for you to install, of course, just do install packages R Markdown. That is something that you've done, and then now you can create an R Markdown file. For you to create that, just go to File, New File, and then you can see here R Markdown, right? I hope you're able to see that R Markdown, and then if you click it, you're supposed to give it a title. Maybe you can give it a title like um, my first I can even say my first markdown file. Of course, this one is too long. My first markdown file. Who is the author? You can write or fail to write. You can say that, right? You can maybe check the output format that you want, PDF, Word, or anything else. But you can start it as at HTML so that you can switch again to even those PDFs some other time. Let's start it that way. Then now we have here the R Markdown file. So you can even give it a name. If you control save, you can save it to wherever you want. So maybe I want it to be saved in R class. Then you say R written Markdown. Okay, save. What is happening with my okay? So I can save it that way. So I have R Markdown practice, right? Yeah, here I believe you can see some things here. Maybe there are things that you have that I don't have here. What are some of the things that you're having inside this place between this line number 1 and line number 3? You might be seeing a different thing to what I have. Yes? Yeah. Uh, yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, date and output. Let me just and anybody else? So I can even just copy all that so that I don't take too much time on that. Yeah. So maybe these are the things that you're supposed to be seeing. Today is 11:15. Yeah. So maybe I have it as what is the name of my the title of my file. So I can even call it my first R Markdown. You can call it anything, but provided that it is within the quotes, right? Author, give it any name you want. Output document, I can output it as Word document, right? I can output it as HTML. Why did it output it to Word? Oh, I copied. Okay. So HTML, output HTML document. Another way to output the document, you can even output it as PDF, right? As a PDF document. You can also even output it as a document. GitHub document, right? And even things like slide presentation, right? Uh, as you can output it also as slide presentation. These are just examples of the way you can output them. And even as a notebook, you'll see them in action. But first, let's use maybe HTML document, right? This way. So without looking at it, go to this place written neat a document. Can you press it? If you press it, you can see everything here, like what has been written here. Are you able to see a file like this? So in your HTML document, you can see the title that you gave it, my first R Markdown, right? And then you go to something here. Let's see. You can see here, there is a title that has been given, not really a title, but a subtitle, R Markdown. And then this is a blah blah blah. Markdown is a simple formatting syntax for authoring HTML, PDF, and MS Word documents. For more details on using R Markdown, see, yeah. When you click the Need button, document will be generated that includes both content. So these are just like things that you're supposed to be writing, but we'll talk about writing them. I'm first giving you how it looks like. Then you can see there a code chunk. You can see there, you can also maybe embed plots, for example. You can see here, and there's something here, echo false. Let's suppose you write it as echo is equaling to true. Before we do anything, let's look at we look at. So this is when we had it as false. Of course, this plot was generated. Let's knit it again. You can use this one, knit it, and see the difference now. For difference now, you can see here we wrote something like plot pressure. So it has produced the code that we wrote to produce this plot here, right? Then if we change it back to false, if we change it back to false, now you cannot see that line of code here, right? Yeah. Another thing also that you can be able to see, yeah, okay. Note that the echo false parameter was added to the code chunk to prevent printing of the R code that generated the plot. Of course, this is just an explanation. So you've seen how these let me say the R Markdown can help you in writing. So you can actually be doing even your project inside R Markdown hapa. Si lazima you go to Word document ati nataka kuiandikia Word document, right? You can just be doing everything hapa ndani. Yeah. Let's suppose you want to, can you click here to be PDF document and click on it. Change to that PDF hapo ikuwe PDF. There's an error. What is missing? So can we knit it? What is the error here? Is anybody having similar error? I don't know what is happening with. I had faced a similar problem when I was testing my. Yeah, but you can see here maybe I've changed it to Word document, and you can see the Word document that has been produced. Yeah, and I can even actually continue writing and say anything that I want. I mean, right? Yeah. So here now you have your Word document. So suppose maybe ilikuwa even 20 pages, right? Even 20 pages. You will have them all here. You are 20 pages zimeandikwa hapo as a Word document. Suppose you are having it as a GitHub document. GitHub. Let me see. I hope it won't bring any issue. Yeah, you can see as a GitHub document how it is looking like, right? This is your GitHub document. Yeah, this is an R Markdown document. Markdown is a simple formatting. Why is PDF not working? So here you don't use Control Enter. I don't know. I wonder why PDF is not working, and it's actually bringing for me. Unless there's some tools that I have not installed, I'll check that just to confirm. Um, you can even have it as we were talking about, maybe iOS slides, a slide presentation. Let's neat it and see. Yeah, you can see now it is in presentation form, right? And I think they should be. Why is it? It's producing one page, and it should be two. Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah, but that is again how to publish using your. There should be an option here where it is showing you the number of page, like the slide that you are in. Uh, no, it can't be this way. Uh-huh. Yeah, that can be checked also. But I mean, the basic ones that you're going to mostly be using, it's either PDF, HTML, PDF. You can use GitHub. You can use it also as Word. These are basically the uh, most commonly used ones. Of course, with the document at the end. Have you been able to try out those four? Yes, Kidole, before we move to now how to write codes inside R Markdown. Said, next. Who else? Yeah, PDF. Anybody else who has experienced the same problem? I thought it was mine alone. Yes? Hubert? Uh-huh. How about Mama? You too, like you lost internet. Okay. Uh, uh, so what we are actually doing here, it's not something really, of course it is important, but what you're just trying to do is to see how you can change between maybe HTML, PDFs, and things like that. Can you just write here HTML and then Control Z, and then the underscore, right? And then neat. There is this place called neat. You just press that neat. You can do it as Control Shift K or just come there and say neat. Here we are not using Control Enter. Here we are using Control Shift K, or just go there and press neat. Hubert and Muema. Have you been able to do that and seen this pop-up window? Yes. Yeah. Start with HTML. Eric, okay. Hubert, Hubert, have you been able to do that? What is happening with your R? Or you did not even you, you don't, sorry. What are these? Um you don't know where we are. Have you done this? Gone to file and new file and gone to our Markdown, and then you've been asked to create the title, right? Create the title and create OK. Are you there, Hubert? Yes. Have you had done that? Niko hapo tu kwa title saa hii vile umeenda hivyo because I lost at the start of yeah, okay, okay, yeah. So give it a title. You can even give it like my first R Markdown or my first or R Markdown practice. I mean, you can give it anything you want, including the name of somebody who gave you some good character development. You're okay. So if you do that, let me just it's untitled. Uh, and where are we? It should be producing some contents here. Mine, I don't know why mine is not starting with those contents, which include title, which includes title, author, and something on date. So it should be having things like that. So I hope it has that. So that is for Hubert, author, and then what else? On the output, right? So, and again, it has to follow that order. Output, then including output. There's something that on that again. Hubert, I hope you're okay with this. So under output, and of course there has to be a space after writing that semicolon, full colon I mean, there has to be a space. Then you write maybe HTML document, right? Even for these ones, there has to be a space before you write the name. Even for date, before you write the date. Title, there also has to be that, right? So that you give it a name. So we are here. Hubert, I hope you are now okay. Good. Now let's go to the contents. In an R Markdown, there is something we call code chunk. Even before that, you can see these things. Hizi ziko hapa, they have to be that way. Can you try maybe adding one zikuwe 4? You need to just be curious with them and see what is going to happen, right? It just uh, it's just a matter of just trying out and seeing what is happening. The more you add them. Are you now seeing what is happening here with your title? So imeandikwa tu as a title, my first R Markdown, author, Tino Boniface, date 2023-11, output, HTML, document, right? And then now it continues to write for you all those other things. Of course, it knows now that this one is an HTML document. You can even try and even add another one and see what is happening. But of course, you expect that there is no further change. It just remains the way you are, right? You can check again, even like what happens when you have them in twos, if it will even run. Knit it. Check what happens. Yeah. So you see, of course, it is maintained that way. How about you try out even one? No change. Okay. Yeah. You can see what happens when you have it as one, right? Imeandika tu all those things. It has written them in one line. My first R Markdown, author, Tino Boniface, and things like that. In completely one line. Be aggressive, or maybe an explorer, and leave them open. Yeah, you can now see my first R Markdown and things like that. So this one, it has to you write them in threes. You write them in three. You'll also do the same with this one. This is the upper. So control enter. Sorry, not control enter. Knit. So in threes, you can see now how it is written. You can now see how it is. My first R Markdown, Tunable Face 2023. Yeah, that is okay, right? Now, there's another thing here that we call, even before I reduce all those spaces, there's something here that we call code chunk. And a code chunk in R, for you to write maybe an R code chunk, you have to use, how do you call this one? The back, whatever. The back, is it back apostrophe or something? I'm missing the name for that. But you can find it next to number one. Next to number one, you can press it once. You can press them 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Right? And write yenye itafunika yenye ita end the code chunk. 1, 2, 3. So now R knows that between 10 and number 8, that is one chunk. You can even see here that number 6 na number 1 zimekuwa enclosed, zinaangaliana hivyo. It knows that these are code, a chunk of code, right? Now here you can be writing whatever it is that you want. Curly brackets, R has to be inside the curly bracket, right? And then now you come here and write maybe something like so for example, maybe library, ggplot. I mean, whatever we had written just on the other side. And maybe you want a data set called empty class, right? want to summary. What is the summary of empty cars, right? You may even want to see, even before that summary, you may want to see what is the head of empty cars, right? You can even say, I wanted to find mean, I wanted to find maybe mean of empty cars, but the MPG column, right? Just those things that we are done, but now you are enclosing them in a R code chunk, in a code chunk, right? Something of that sort. You may even also want to say that I have a matrix called mat1, and write it as matrix C 1 to 9, or we don't even have to write the C when writing 1 to 9, comma, nrow is equaling to Pashamai, true.
I have a concern. How can you create that then?
This chunk by row is equaling to true. A number of row is equaling to 3 by row is equaling to T. And yeah, so how you can create this, Pascal, can you see kando ya number 1 on your keyboard? Yes?
Yes.
Unaona there is a tilde function and also there is that one ya backslash chini ya escape. So can you press it one time, 1 and 2, 3?
Okay.
Have you seen it? Yes?
Yes, I have seen it.
So, okay, so you are able to write whatever I've written here. Okay, then after writing maybe the first one, then write this R, yeah, R in a curly brackets. R in a curly brackets, and now inside it, now you can write all the things that you want. So let's first maybe delete these things. Let's first delete these things here. Let's delete them and say, so we want to create a header. You use the hashtag, right? And then maybe say R Markdown practice. That is the first header. If you maybe want to create a second header and say you use hashtags mbili and say we use empty cars. We use empty cars dataset. Sorry, empty cars dataset. Right. The more you write more headers, the more you use yes, Victor. So you can see what I've written there, and you can see here, right? What has happened to our header? R Markdown, let's see. Yeah. There is supposed to be a space here. R Markdown practice. So that you need it again. Yeah. So you can see that R Markdown actually even font zake ni kubwa kuliko what we have here, dataset. Yeah. So this one is a second header, right? So this may be the first header, and then this one is the second one, right? We use empty cars dataset. So you can see maybe here library, we are loading ggplot, data, we are seeing empty cars, right? Is what you're using. Now head, empty cars. It has shown us the first 6 entries, which is Mazda RX-4, WAG, Datsun, Hornet Sport About, Valiant. Then summary of empty cars. It is doing it again here. We have MPG, cylinder, the disc, HP, drat, weight, sec, yes, M and gear and things like that. Mean of empty cars MPG, you can see that it is there. And there's also something mat1. Let's see if we can write here mat1 and knit it again. You can see that mat1 has been printed here, right? Or you can even say something like this. R Markdown practice, okay. You can even say this is the first time I am using R Markdown, right? And let me tell you, Maina, this thing is real fun. Real fun. This is a real fun. I have been working with empty cars. What am I writing? Dataset before, and this should be easy to understand. So let's see if it's working. Sorry, I've done knitting 2 times. Yeah, so you can see here. This is the first time I'm using R Markdown, and let me tell you, Maina, this thing is a real fun. I've done something. So we use empty class. Let's see what the issue is. Uh-huh. Yeah, I have not done a spacing. So there should be a spacing after this. That's why it is not. So you have to leave a space between the statement that you've written and the next one so that it knows that this is the header, right? Let me try doing that and knit it again and see if the mistake persists. Yeah, so you can see this is the first time I'm using R Markdown. Let me tell you, Maina, this thing is a real fun. We use empty cars dataset. I've been working with empty cars dataset before, and this should be easy to understand, right? Now you have library, data, empty cars. The data we're using is empty cars and head. You can see that. Summary. Maybe sometimes these things are, you don't want to see them, right? Because they are just filling up your space for nothing. Yeah. There is where you add a certain functionality here. Where is that one? Yeah. You add here and say echo equaling to false. Let's try echo equaling to false and knit it. So echo equaling to false, you can just see that what we are writing is we are just producing the results, but we are not producing the codes that we are not writing the codes that produce the result that we can see here, right? So that is when you say echo equaling to false. When you say echo equaling to true, it's the same as not even writing it. Okay, you can just even leave it this way, or let's just write it first and see. Knit it there. If you write echo is equaling to true, we'll just be having what we had initially. You can see we have empty cars and all those results that we have there. You can even have, let's see if we can add a comment. First 6 entries of our data set. You can see here we have a comment, right? First 6 entries of our data set. We need to comment before. We need to comment here kwa hapa juu, Control V, and knit it now. You can see maybe now first 6 entries, you can see had empty cars. Let me see reaction. Have you been able to do what I've done? Yes. Hands up if you are experiencing any challenge. If you're okay, say thumbs up. Said. Said, are you having any issue? Said is okay. Victor?
Yes, I have a problem. I've tried to, I've written that code and it is not running.
What is C?
Let me check. It is saying YAML pass exception at line 2, column 0. Did not find expected document start.
Can you even share your screen?
Yes.
Pashamai, you're also having a problem.
Mine is not also running.
Is it having the same problem that Victor is experiencing? Yeah?
Mine is saying that Pandoc processing file R Markdown.
Okay.
No, Pandoc.exe R Markdown.docs with binary file permission denied.
Yeah,
Pandoc.conversion.
I think nani anaitwaje? Victor,
Yes.
we are not using hyphens here,
Yes.
but next to your to number 1 in your keyboard, can you see something? Next to number
Yes.
1, can you?
On the left.
Yeah, on the left.
Yes.
Can you press it 1 time? 2, 3. Aya, go back to huku chini number 17. Yeah, remove that also. Press it again 3 times. Can you try chunking it? Knitting it, sorry. So for, yeah, you can see it is running.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, so go back and we were using HTML document. So go back to RR, change there to HTML. Yeah, you can even say HTML and try knitting it again. You can see what has been produced there. Uh,
Thank you.
just a minute. Let me see your what? Okay, okay, that's fine. You can stop presenting. And there's also Pashamai. You had an issue. Can you also present?
Let me log in using my laptop.
Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah. Anybody else experiencing any problem? Mwema, are you together, Mwema? Mwema is okay. Suma, Nathan. Okay, that means we. Hubert, Hubert, are you? Oh, you're okay. That's fine. So, are you enjoying using R Markdown? If you are enjoying using R Markdown, you can just type yes. Just type yes in the comment section, and if you find R Markdown fun to use, just yes. I'm waiting for Pashamai to 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 provide to share his screen. Hubert, Victor, Eric, yes, yeah. R Markdown is really good for publishing your to publishing maybe your document now. Instead of waiting to write all those codes and then copy and paste even like same a picture, right? If you want maybe a graphic, then unaenda hapa. Let me see plots that we had done. There's no plot that we've done here. Let me just use this to growth and not that one. Mm, even here we were doing some writing of plotting something here. Uh, and maybe there's something that I want to show you. Error in view, could not find view. Yes.
Are you able to see my screen?
Just a minute. Are you sharing?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just. You can stop for a minute. I just tell something here. Yeah. Yeah. So suppose maybe you have this something like this, and then you want to maybe go and export. Unataka kupress up export. To even export your graph. I don't know if you're able to see what I'm sharing. Okay. Yeah. So export, maybe you want to save it as PDF or save it as image or copy to clipboard. Maybe this is the aspect ratios and all those things. Copy plot and take it to your Word document. Um, your Word document and maybe paste it here. Are we really pasted it? Control Z. Or just export it to maybe first save it as image and something like this. Maybe where is the directory that you're saving it in? To save it in Coursera Google Analytics and save it there. And then from there, you'll go and pick the photo there and maybe paste it in your Word document wherever you want it to be. So it's really a tiresome process as compared to just even that simple thing that you want to write. Just write it as a R Markdown file and within a minute export it to your Word and then escape those hassles of going through that numerous that long process. Pashamai, you can share your screen. Um, are you okay? Let's see what you. Well, I'm not able to see your screen. Oh, you can ignore. Press there, ignore. There's a place written ignore. Okay. What is the issue? So for you have not even written Nini. You have not even written the back. I don't know. It's backstrokes. I don't know what the name of that. But you've not written that. Next to number library, next to number 12, library. Go to number 12. Or even before number 12, hapo number 11. Or yeah, press it to create another line. Just press enter. Press enter iende chini. Yeah, okay. Okay, so hapo number 12, can you press hizo kando ya number 1 there's whatever we are looking for. Kando ya number 1 on your keyboard. Do you see something that looks like what we want? There's a tilde function.
Okay.
Yes?
Yeah, I have rated them number 12.
But am I really? I'm not able to see because your screen is a little bit blurry. No, don't press that one. Okay, delete that. Delete again. Even okay. Do you really need to press shift? Let me see what you can do here. Don't press at shift then that. Just press it. Don't use the shift function. That is why tilde inatokea hapo. Just go to that candle number 1 and press it.
Okay. Here at line number 11.
Yeah, just at number 11.
I press it
3 times. Then so of course number 18 pia naona iko sawa. Then write, have you deleted them? Okay. Then write R inside the curly bracket. Inside the curly bracket.
Okay.
Yeah. Then can you knit it? So R understands that that is a code chunk. Can you knit it?
It is running.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. Where is the output? Ama it's slow kidogo.
It's still running.
Okay.
Okay, but you can just I think it will just be okay.
Yeah. From that, so that is the issue yenye ulifanya vibaya. So hide. I mean stop presenting. Okay. So here we are. Sorry. Here, right? So I hope you've understood this basic thing. Yeah. These basic ones are how to write, for example, um, how to write your code chunk. So this is a chunk of code. Maybe you are done with that. You want to write another code. Maybe you can say here, you can even say now let us try using a different data set and say, so there is a shortcut for creating that code chunk. You just press Control Alt. There's Control Alt. I hope you are listening. Control Alt and then I. Kando ya UI. Kando ya U, TYUIOP. So you press that. You press them mara moja. Control plus Alt plus I. And then ina produce the chunk here mara moja. You see? Can you practice that again? Control Alt I. Control Alt I. Eh? So that is what you do. Oh, I actually wrote them. Yeah, nilikuwa nimezipress mingi. So Control Alt, you can create another one and so that wewe utakuwa unafanya tu kuandika. Go to next thing. Maybe now we want to use so data iris, right? And then you want to use maybe ggplot library. So you can say here, let us load ggplot, right? And say library library ggplot right? And then maybe something like that. You can even come here and say something like, let us do a summary. Let us do a summary of the data set. And then you come here and write summary iris, right? Underneath whatever it is that we have. I want us to look at another thing. Now let us try using a different data set. Let us load ggplot. Let us do a summary of the data set, and you can see a summary here that we have. There's another thing that you can do. Oh, yeah, of course, we wanted to even plot something. So ggplot, we can even do a plot of, let's see, ggplot data, of course, it's iris, right? Comma, mapping is equaling to aesthetic, and maybe we want to plot something like what? Petal. So aesthetic, on the x-axis, we want to plot the species. Sorry, x is equaling to species, comma, y is equaling to petal length. I don't know, petal dot length. I hope it is this way, petal dot length, and what we want to do is geom plus geom point. Let's see if it is going to plot, and then knit it. There might be an issue with the code inside ggplot, but let me see. Yeah, I knew it. There's that. Here we can plot petal width, or even sepal length, sepal dot length. If at all these are the Control Z. I mean, these are just codes that we had written initially. I'm just trying to see if it's. Why is our thing not? Let me see what we have here. View iris. So we have petal dot width, sepal dot length. Why is it not running? While this is petal dot length, sepal dot length, petal dot width, geom point. Okay. What else can we have here if not geom point? Or geom box plot, and change this to species. What is the issue with our line of code? Yes? Anybody seeing any issue with the code that you've written? Let me just check for one here before we take time figuring out the issue. Species or what is okay. Geom doc X, I think this one should be okay. Yeah, this one is now okay. I was having them in quotes, and that is the issue that was happening. So you can see even this one set also has some outliers here and there. So this one, it has created for us a box plot, right? You can see now, let's try a different, let us do a summary of the data set, ggplot and things like that. And I mean, that is what you can have there. Suppose maybe you want to create a list in R. A list, I mean, uh, let us list down importance of writing codes of programming. So you can say number one, what does programming do? And say there, you can even say it makes you wise. You can add another one and say it increases your cognizability, comma, another thing, uh, improves your creativity. Let's now try to chunk that. To neat, I mean, sorry. Why am I using chunk every now and then? Yeah, you can see, let us list down. I have not had a space here. Space can delete na this nini. That's why it is, these are part of code, cleaning your codes, by the way. And that is why it makes you wise. So this is how you can even create a list. How can you embed maybe, you can see, let us list down importance of programming. It makes you wise, code debugging increases your cognizability, improves your creativity, right? Another thing, you can say, kindly access the notes we have been using via link, and you can provide the link using things like that. Let me show you when you did something like this, Markdown and untitled, okay, and you can see here how to embed a link. You see, so you go and copy that link, and let me write something here. Where is that R Markdown? Okay, here it is. Via maybe So you can also write maybe kindly access the notes we have been using via maybe this, and again knit it and see. I've not put a full stop at the end. I don't know if it's going to affect, but let's see. Yeah, you can see. We kindly access the notes we've been using via, and then you can now press on this, and it uh, takes you to Bounty Analytica, right? And you can see all the things that you have there. So that is how you can also even embed a link. Yeah. Sometimes you want to underline. Suppose you want to underline R Markdown practice. How can you underline this? I'll just lift them very fast from, because of time, from a previous. How can you underline? Yes. Let me get it for you. So this is how you can just underline something, and even to put it bold. Let me copy for you this, and very fast we have it here. So our Markdown practice. So let's write it this way: R Markdown practice. R Markdown practice, and then curly brackets dot underline. This one, these ones are just supposed to make it bold. Let's see. Yeah, you can see now it is bold and it has been underlined. How about if you use one asterisk? You can see one asterisk, it makes it italics, right? So even if you want to write here, and let me tell you Maina, you can even have it as asterisk hivi. If you have it as asterisk hivi, inaiweka bold, inaiweka asterisk, not really asterisk, but we call it italics, right? But when you say that this is this is the first time I'm using R Markdown, and then I have it this way, right? I have double. This one is going to be bold. This one is going to be italics. Let's try it out. So you can see here, this is the first time I am using R Markdown, and let me tell you, Maina, this thing is a real fun, right? I've been working with empty cassette set, blah blah blah. There's something else that I want to show you here. I had written a different one. Let me see if I wrote it somewhere. No. There are other things. Of course, this is just a high-end introduction to, yeah, you can see I had included even that one. So this one is not different from what we have already written. Yeah, the more you add even hashtags, right? The more it becomes like, so for example, 3 is like the third header, right? If it is 1, it is first headers, 2 headers, 3 of course third headers, and things like that. I don't know if there's any other thing that we can talk about here, but this is just introductory bit of R Markdown for you to type in, for you to write your codes in R Markdown. Let me say here something like, thank you for being a wonderful class of students. You be something of that sort. Adios, and neat that. Um, yeah, class of students is just a repetition. Yeah, so I think you can see that this is how you can this is how you can write your R Markdown file so that somebody can be really read it, find it easy to read even your code. It is easier to read this one as compared to reading something like this. It's a lot easier to read this. If you want to publish it as GitHub document, then you can also do that. You can change it to GitHub and let's see. You can see how with GitHub it is really beautiful. R Markdown practice. You can see this. So even if you check Kaggle, these are you'll find these such like things. Like people have written codes and published them using R Markdown. Let us list down importance. So even this one you can underline so that you have it in a different. You can see that. You can even change it to a different kind of document. I don't know why PDF is not working, but you can write something, even you can write it as Word. We had already talked about those ones. And after this is done, my question is somebody having a question? Now Word is also not working. Pandoc X with binary permission denied. I don't know this issue. You realize that there's a time I'd also tried to check for it. I don't know why it's a big. So you can check. Hi, I'm trying to run the R Markdown code via knitr, the regression. So somebody has already asked for that issue. Stack Overflow also you can also go and look for that. Until now I didn't find my answer to that error during my web search. I also I don't know if there's any information here. I just installed Pandoc to version 2.0, but the error is still the same. Maybe this is the reason for the error. When running above example, I can see that in our studio. Try this. I don't know if this one is going to work, but let's also try it. So that is how you source for those information. And let me try to run it just anywhere. So is this really a solution? We'll try to go and try to find